Spotify hits me up. Won't you hit me up? Oh, guys, 30's licking me. Do you understand? I might not have the biggest bum. Okay, I'm blessed in that department. Hallelujah. Because people label you as an extrovert, suddenly now every function I have to bring energy. Every function is Conte's Corner. Conte's Corner. Yeah. Okay. It's happening. Nobody panic. Okay. So, some of you are probably wondering, why is Deborah so excited? Who is this babe? Why does she seem, what's the word? So high energy when, like, can't lie, it's like -0,000 degrees outside. Cool. Because realistically, I'd like to start my year with a bit of a bang. All right. Anyway, as you already know, you're in the coolest corner of the internet. Like, this is the coolest corner of the world where cool kids reside. If you're not a cool kid, please leave and go outside. Ooh, because you're not a vibe. Ooh. I was going to say, so why would I ride with you? But that is why. So I'm not going to do that. Anyway, guys, welcome back. My name is DC and I am your wonderful host, presenter, big sis, auntie, whatever you want to call me, midfielder, as some of the lads call me. And I'm super excited to record this episode. This is the first episode of Conte's Corner 2026. I'm actually really excited because, one, I just feel like I've been recording, doing all that fancy stuff and doing what the girlies say, which is be consistent and privately consistent, because I don't want to start something that I don't think I will follow through with. So this is something that I'm excited to continue. I'm excited to start again, or whatever that means. I'm excited to share. The plans have changed God knows how many times. I've sat with myself, I've changed episodes, I've deleted episodes, I've done a lot privately, but I feel like I'm right now in a space where I'm like, you know what? It's actually my show. And whatever way, in whichever way the episodes get produced, I really just want it to be impactful episodes. And I noticed from the first season that the episode that did the best was the episode in which people could learn from. Sorry, forgive me. I don't have my studio set up yet. Dear hallelujah. I really feel like I want to show up as though this is the best podcast in the world. And this is not only just a well-being podcast, but it's a podcast you can laugh at. It's a podcast you can laugh with. It's a podcast in which we talk about faith. So it's just who I am, which is somebody that is very much a multi-hyphenate. This podcast has no real one linear field. I want it to fit all fields, but also like have purpose for a lot of people. And some people might sit there and be like, oh, like, then what's your intent with your podcast? My podcast is my show. If today I wanted to share a word and feel like the Lord said that I should actually share this word, cool. If today was just an episode for me to complain and talk about cool. But one thing season 2 is specifically dedicated to is myself and growing this part of me and seeing how best we navigate late 20s. Oh, guys, sorry. I'm actually like 30's licking me. Do you understand? The age of 30 is like, you can see it's still in frame. Yeah, you see how it's just giving me a little. Do you know how mad that is? 30's in 5 years. That's bonkers to me. Sorry. So, what I want is for this to be an international podcast that changes lives, that leads conferences, that leads campaigns, that impacts young Black girls, that impacts young white girls, that impacts young Asian girls, that impacts young Black men, that just impacts people. And we realize deep down, like, the kid version of ourselves or the child version of ourselves is really cool, and we're allowed to show up as, like, we're allowed to fulfill our lives by, you know, doing the stuff that our little child versions wanted to do. And for me, I always wanted to speak, I always wanted to encourage, I always wanted to motivate, I wanted to be a teacher when I was growing up. I am a teacher now, which is really mad to think about it, in a different way of teaching. I don't teach in schools, but if you know, you know. But generally speaking, I'm excited for this season. I'm hoping that at least every episode there's some kind of insight, or at least just you realize how mad I can be, you know, how this world is really just, we can't be taking ourselves too seriously, like, because at the end of the day, if we take ourselves too seriously, then everything externally serious will make life more serious, and then you just sit with yourself and you wonder why everything is just collapsing. We don't want that, okay? But what we do want is to live, laugh, joke, have a bit of banter, but sometimes just be like, actually, this is what I think we can learn from each other. And yes, sometimes there will be times in which I say something that I definitely correct, like, but also know that we're human, and everything that I share is from a perspective of my experience, and perspective of how I choose to live my life, and that is very important to preface anytime you listen. But yeah, man, welcome to the show. Super exciting. Super exciting. Super exciting. Welcome to the pod. What we usually do here is something called confessional of the week. Confession of the week. Yeah, and my confession of the week this week is actually, sometimes I like to cosplay as an introvert. I love to cosplay as an introvert. I can't lie. If you don't know by now, I'm very much an extrovert. Very much an extrovert. It's like, it's to an extent that when I think about my family, and I mean extended family, shout out cousins, and internal family, honestly speaking, I feel like I'm the only extrovert of this whole family. There is not another extrovert in my family as like myself, seriously. And I realized, I said, whose bloodline did I go and inherit that everybody else is an introvert and I'm an extrovert? But the reason why I love cosplaying as an introvert is because I can go to new spaces and nobody knows who the heck I am. Nobody knows my temperament. Nobody knows how I behave. Nobody knows that I can be a bit tapped. That's brilliant for me, because now when I sit in the space and I really just observe, I love to observe people. Like, and when I say observe, I just love to observe behavior and see how people navigate spaces and stuff like that. And maybe that's just the poet in me, where we just observe a lot and then document that through like literary techniques. My God. And yeah, I just feel like being an introvert sometimes is really cool. Like, you don't have to talk too much, or you don't have to engage too much, like, or I don't have to explain myself, or I don't have to feel like I have to be the life of the party. Sometimes I actually don't. Sometimes I just want to be in my corner. Sometimes I just want to be in my corner and mind my business, and literally just go about my day. There have been spaces in which, like, I even went to a retreat. I think it was 2 years ago now, which is crazy to think. But shout out Valuable Retreat. The first time I went to that retreat, yeah, guys, honestly, people genuinely thought I was introverted, because the way how I barely said anything, the way how I was even reading a book. I'm not the biggest reader, and I pray 2026 that changes. Okay, seriously, guys, I finished my first book already, and it's been like whatever, yeah. But at the time, I was observing everybody. I was just sussing people out. I was doing soft G checks, small. Like, I was just seeing, okay, who can I really, who are people that I should actually be mingling with? And that's not to say I was being stush. I was being very friendly, being very like open, but I wasn't out here being my extroverted self. And I think that's just because I was very nervous about the new environment, and I was just very much like, oh my gosh, it's my first time going to a retreat and pushing myself. And my intent of going to that retreat was not only just to meet people, but yeah, just really put myself in uncomfortable positions to promote the podcast at the time. And obviously meet amazing speakers, which you've seen, like Sharon was amazing. Oh, and actually, shout out Sharon, man. Shout out Sharon. Sharon, if you're here, shout out Sharon. We need you back on this pod. I need to pray for me that I'll find a pod space, or at least God will continue to provide for this space to be better and bigger. But at the time, I really realized like introverts kind of have it easy in certain spaces. They don't have to explain why they're quiet. Like, and not to say that everybody that's an introvert is quiet, but I really like when I can actually gain energy from being alone and being by myself and being on my ones and just minding my business. Like, it's actually okay. And I think that's something that us extroverts we don't really get the privilege of doing that a lot. I think because people label you as an extrovert, suddenly now every function I have to bring energy. Every function? I'm tired too. I don't know if they know that we get tired too. Like, we get absolutely drained. Especially me being a presenter. I think sometimes people don't realize how quickly I clock out or how quickly I've tapped out. Like, but because I've just learned how to be able to navigate, keep going. I love cosplaying I love it cosplaying as an introvert. I really do. Maybe I'm an ambivert. Ambivert, is that the word? Yeah, like the in between. You know, it is very much my nature though. Midfielder, ambivert. Da, da, da. Hey, helps that I can be my space in all spaces. But moving swiftly on, so there was a beautiful topic that I saw. I forgot who, but I was just researching topics on what to talk about, and one topic that really was beautiful was things that. Why am I pretending? I have my book. I will never stream from my book, but it was what no one told me about womanhood, and I feel like that's such a cool question, or at least a cool topic to talk about, because I'm not fully there. Yeah, I've only realistically been in this womanhood phase for. I count womanhood to start from 20. Yeah, because if teen is still in my name, I'm still very much a child, personally. But I've only been in this game for 5 years. I'm basically a toddler in this adulthood phase. Yeah. So I was just like, okay, what did no one tell me about this adulting? What did no one tell me about being a woman? And what did I have to kind of learn from just observing? And what did I have to learn from my own mistakes? And I'm still learning, because apparently I have to keep on learning, like, which is crazy. So I'll split this section into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that I that no one really told me about womanhood, things that I'm still kind of learning, things that I feel like by the time I'm married, and I'm declaring that, by the time I'm married, these things will shift, like, and these things will change, and I know there's a lot more to learn, and hence why I said I'm so excited about 25, because I feel like even in these last couple months, it's really just been like, a lot of thinking about thinking. Thank you. So the first thing was body image. Being a teenager was never cute, can't lie. I feel like a lot of people have that sentiment. Being a teenager in London was never cute. Being a teenager in the part of London I was part of it's still never cute, still never will be cute, never has been cute, unfortunately. And the one thing about body image was just how degrading and hungry and horny men when we were boys were when we were growing up. Like, everybody and their dog wanted to put it in somewhere. It's mental, not to be gruesome, but it's just like, and I heard this from a group of other girls actually, and I think it kind of broke my heart a little bit. Obviously, when growing up, when you knew somebody liked you is when, like, oh my god, he touched my bum. That's so gross. Just to think about it now, it's so gross. And I heard a bunch of schoolgirls saying it, and it was like, oh yeah, like, he must like me in it because he touched my bum, and I don't even know what he was doing, but da, da, da. And I thought to myself, like, just the way how we saw ourselves when we were growing up, and the way how we really, like, associated attraction with um inappropriate touching was so sad. And myself in particular, like, I really, and now I've embraced it, but I really hated how overdeveloped I was. And when I say overdeveloped, I started puberty from like the age of 9. So you can imagine everything that came with it was super early. And I just hated the fact that certain parts of me had grown faster than others. Um, to the point where I would wear bigger blazers in school. I would wear they used to call it boot cuts in it. So I would wear boot cuts deliberately because there was more space by my waist. I'd wear a blazer so it would cover my waist as well. It was a lot, and I deliberately not wear any kind of, like, not to say that that was a bad thing, and not to say that those that wore makeup were now drawing attention to themselves, but I wore no such thing. I avidly swore I wouldn't wear any makeup because I was just like, I really don't want, like, unnecessary, unprovoked attention coming my way, especially, unfortunately, with a country and culture sometimes that because you slightly look bigger than your age or you slightly look more grown, and it's seen as it's a sentiment sometimes in SL culture anyway. You always hear, like, male figures, older male figures, uncles, auntie, like, being like, "Oh, you're grown now. You're grown now. You're grown." And it's like telling an 11-year-old, a 10-year-old that they're more grown than they are. Problem. So I really didn't, unfortunately, one thing they didn't tell me about womanhood as a child is slowly you'll begin to embrace the fact that God's actually made you like this. And as long as in whatever belief you have, like, for me, I'm trying my very best to be more modest, but in whatever respect that looks like, embrace it. Well, like, I might not have the big well, I do, but I might not have the biggest bum. Okay, I'm blessed in that department, hallelujah. But I might not have the most curvaceous body. I'm also blessed in that department, hallelujah. But I might not have the biggest hips or the biggest, like, arms, or the big, like, you're not trying to say, oh, I might not have the most beautiful ears, or I don't know, whatever facial features you're really looking for. But I feel like in womanhood, you begin to really embrace the fact that actually I have a really cool body, and the fact that my body is capable of doing so many things, like, and can really take care of myself, and is able to, the fact that any of us can hold a human being in our womb is mental. And I really just wish my younger self, I could tell her that, one, you know, it gets better, and your ability to really just, like, when you deep the fact that this is all you've got, yeah, like, when you deep the fact that this body is actually, like, yours forever, like, or whatever context forever looks like for you, like, you really begin to sit with yourself and say, ah, all this time I'm spent comparing myself to other people, when other people are comparing themselves to me, is crazy. Like, I don't want to sit and waste my time worrying about, like, how small my feet are. You know what I mean? Like, little stuff like that. Like, I just wish that was something that, or something that I'm beginning to embrace now in womanhood, is just the fact that, yeah, like, cool, I don't, for me, like, I have really small hands, like, and that used to bug me as well. And I think that's probably why, like, I probably played basketball for a while, because I was just like, you're not really looking at my hands, you're looking at the ball, you're distracted by me playing the sport, you know. And yeah, man, it was just one of those ones that I really just wish that was the case. Anyway, second thing, family boundaries. My God, when you grow up, baby girl, yeah, one thing about womanhood is you need to be able to say no. And I'm the eldest of three. You need to be able to say no in a way that's definitely still polite. And unfortunately, unfortunately, with parents, you will upset them. I think, and I was saying this to my guy friends as well. There comes a point in which uh parents and children that become adults, there's a power struggle, because you've grown up in their house as a child, and unfortunately the way how they see you is always as a child. And I say unfortunately because it causes clashes, it causes um when you start having boundaries and start saying no to certain things, or start refusing to do certain things, that now is like, how dare you say no to me, you know, I'm your parent. But unfortunately we forget that children become adults, and adults also get to choose what they need to do and what makes sense for them. So I think in adulthood, one thing that I'm, as a woman anyway, I'm understanding is, yeah, there will be points in which I upset my parents. But I made a happier choice for myself, and I made a better choice for what makes sense for me. And that no was beneficial for me now, because I would probably build more resentment later at the fact that I did not choose myself. And that honestly goes swiftly into finances. Like, black tax gonna hit you. Black tax. Hey, I'm still learning that one. Yeah. Black tax gonna hit you harder than you ever would expect, especially when you get a well-paid job. Well-paid. Right now, I'm not fully there, but I'm like testing a well-paid job. Yeah, like nothing will hit you harder than the responsibilities of your parents slowly seeping into your life, and you realize, what? All of this is what you paid for? Let me say something, guys. I drive. Glory. Yeah. It's nearly, this coming year will be my 3rd year driving. Crazy. Okay. I can't tell you guys how many expenses alone with the car. I can't tell you guys how many expenses there have been alone with the car. And to think that is just a vehicle that is supposed to take me from A to B. I don't think you guys get it. That will be a whole episode. Having a car is a scam. Having a car is a scam. Having a car is a scam. Okay? But anyway, black taxes is something that I'm just like, no one told me how much responsibility our parents take with finances, and no one also told me how much you just have to pay for, like, and the money will just fly. Oh, money will just go. You breathe, go, vibe out. You breathe, go, do, tap. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. 3 final things. Yeah. One being spirituality. I've clocked this, yeah, with someone who has grown up to associating my achievements and working hard with being seen. Which is something I also said to a friend of mine, new friend, shout out new friend. But I said to him, I said, sometimes the way how I've grown up is, unfortunately, people only really saw me based on what I did for them, not who I was. And that sounds very deep, and like, oh my god, like, how do you navigate that, bro? Like, how do you manage that? I didn't. We're here. Haha, lovely. Why do you think I go therapy? But I think that seeped into my spiritual life, and I felt as though me being the most hardworking meant I was the most spiritual, or I was the most pious, even if I didn't say it out loud. Because when you've grown up in a way where if you work really hard and you get certain achievements, you'll get the most reward. Like, I was going to say meritocracy, but I don't know if that's correct. I need to check that. But work hard, great reward, great life. That's what I assumed. But I think you remember, like, it's actually not your works that get you to heaven. And that's not to say do not work hard. And that is not to say do not work like as though you're working for the Lord. That is also not to say do not put effort in what you do. That is not to say none of that. But when you don't have boundaries with how to commit to ministry, that is what causes burnout, and that is what causes resentment. And I definitely was resentful at a point. I feel like it's been in waves, but I definitely was resentful at the fact that, like, my no wasn't necessarily respected. Um, and yeah, I feel like in womanhood you realize like, hey, it's okay to say no to certain things. Listen, Christ will not fault you for saying no to something when right now you know if you say yes to it, like you're not gonna put your 110% into it. It's actually okay, you know. And it's something I'm still navigating, it's something I'm still working out, it's something I'm still figuring out. But that's my encouragement. Womanhood is not easy. Like, I would rather commit to the one ministry and know that my focus is on that than feel like I have to do 5 different things and have no time for the initial ministry of home or family or friendships. And it's like now my life just seems more like I'm Santa's elf rather than child of God. Hey, it's okay. Yeah? Calm down. Now for my 2 favorite ones, okay? I'm gonna go friendship first and then I'll go to the final. So friendship, yeah? Friendships, seasonal friends are okay. Sorry. Seasonal friends are okay. Also, just because you spent the most amount of time with that person in life doesn't mean that that person must come to you in your next season. And this is actually not an indirect at all. Like, I can't lie, I can't relate. But from observation of other people's lives, I've noticed that unfortunately we tie history um to I don't know, like it's just because you just tie history to the fact that they have to be there. And it's actually okay. I went to a mentoring session and one of the mentors that were there was saying how he was best friends with his friend since he was like basically an infant child. Yeah, they grew up together. And he said the only reason why we are still friends is not because of the fact that I've known this brother for a long time. It's actually because of the fact that we find new ways to bond. We find new ways to grow. We find new ways to push each other. We find new ways to be intentional and show up. And I think that's why a lot of friendships have lasted for me. It's not the longevity. Oh, sorry, it's not the longevity, has come from consistently pulling and pushing each other, has come from choosing to show up for each other, has come from me correcting and them correcting. It's come from being in the same kind of spiritual side of things and trying to grow as women and men of God. I think there's a lot of things. And I think when the dimensions become very 2D, when it just feels very flat, then guy, what are you expecting? This relationship unfortunately can't continue. And unfortunately, I pray this a lot. Yeah, I would say, Lord, I can't lie, if anyone that's not supposed to necessarily be, even me, if I'm not supposed to be in someone's season right now, remove me gracefully. If that person's not supposed to be in my season right now, remove them gracefully. And I say gracefully because sometimes we say remove them and then we now wonder why we're in pain. Hello, get down. Thank you. And my final thing was relationships. And again, this is not to say I'm a relationship expert, and none of this is relationship advice. But what no one told me about relationships, yeah, is that men can be mad. I'm sorry, I ain't gonna hold y'all. Men can be mad. Oh, they can be mad. Oh, they can be mad. They can be mad. Like, escaladeezy mad. Yeah? It's like, but I can't relate. The men friends that I have are phenomenal. Like, and I'm forever grateful. But from the things I've heard in this life, I've actually had to say, Lord, if I'm meant to be a singlet, please let me know. Okay? So that way I can live my bachelorette or whatever it's called life phenomenally. If I am gonna be a singlet, let me know now. Cause then all my hopes and dreams, forget it. Forget it. Let's just chuck it in the bin. What we wasting time for? Yeah. And I feel like anyway, to wrap up, like I feel like womanhood is something that, you just keep learning, innit? Like, I haven't got it all figured out. And to be honest, my 50-year-old self will probably look back at this and be like, yeah, I really thought I had it figured out. No, and that's okay. And I hope to God Almighty that, not only will He cover me, but also just pour His grace upon me, and have mercy upon the times in which I make mistakes, and I'm very like adamant that I didn't. And I actually hope for however these next 5 years look like, they are beautiful, they grow, but also I just consistently stay myself. Like really just fully truly embrace myself, like. And I think that's why sometimes when I record episodes, I'm not always in makeup, I'm actually always in a hoodie, or I'm in clothing that's so comfortable, because it's my corner. Do you get? It's actually my corner of the internet, and I'm allowed to show up 100% myself as I can. And yes, there will be people that is like their spirit is tormented by authenticity. That's okay. But what I don't know now, I pray I know later. And I pray I learn it in a way where I embrace it and do better. I pray I know better and I do better. And I pray that I trained myself to be successful, because I really want to be successful. I kind of want this to be like a montage that they use in my biopic and be like, oh my God, Debs, like you were so cool. And who would have thought that you'd have like a whole documentary series that's like changing people's lives, and similar to like Michelle Obama, where she's written a whole book of Becoming. Like, I want it to come to a point where we're sitting on panels and like I'm sitting on panels. I need to stop saying we, like that's something that I need to whatever, but I'm sitting on panels and I'm sharing wisdom, and people are growing from that, and people are just like, wow, you're like, and I think that's just really cool, because at the end of the day, God hasn't given me this level of advancement for nothing. And I really like, that's why I feel like this pod is so necessary, because outside of it basically being a different form of a diary for me, it's also another way for us to be able to really find people that or find others that are also going through similar stages of life, or also just want to vent, and also want to share, and also want to find their inner circle the same way how I have found my inner circle. It's a corner of the internet where being cool is not seen as like you're a know-it-all, or you think you have it figured out. No, cool kids know how to be humble. Like, I have really cool people around me, and I'm excited for season 3 when we actually start bringing people back on, and we sit down and we're like, raw, like we did that, like we really really did that, but yeah, anyway, moving swiftly on. Like, the beautiful thing about this show is I just choose to do what I want to do, and there's something that I really want to build. I want to build a card game later, and it's called CONTEH'S Curriculum, asking you questions that are deep, that are a deep dive into dark. No, a deep dive. A. Take again. Basically asking deep questions, because I love We're Not Really Strangers. I would love to be sponsored by We're Not Really Strangers if they want me. If they want me, okay. But I love asking questions. I just feel like let's go beyond the pretense. And one question that I had, that I thought was a beautiful question, is what is something you'd like to be known for? And again, 25, super cute age. But something I'd like to be known for is something that Maya Angelou said before she passed, which was, people will know what you've done, people will remember what you've done, people will remember how you showed up or whatever, but the one thing people will remember is how you made them feel. Hopefully I put it at the bottom. I'll figure it out when editing. But yeah, people will remember how you made them feel. And I really want people to feel safe when they're with me. That's something I really want. I want people to feel safe when they're with me, even if we do not have the same beliefs, even if we do not have the same stances on things, even if we disagree. Like, I still want people to feel safe. And that's not to say I never felt safe, but in the times in which I did feel safe, that was the best feeling ever. Because I never had to question something. I never had to question my thoughts, my feelings. I just shared. And my mum used to say this when we were growing up, that a problem half shared is a problem half solved, with the right person, of course. So yeah, I really want to be known as the person who creates safe spaces, who allows people to feel open, who also can correct with love. But when I say correct, I mean also receive correction with love. That's something I'm still learning, and it sucks. It sucks. But really embrace correction. And also just like, just I was a cool kid, man. Like, honestly, like, I just want people to look at me and be like, nah, Debs, you're cool, bro. Like, how do you handle it with such grace and such steez? I think that's something I'd like to know. And I was watching this interview with Tracy, oh my gosh, Diana Ross's daughter, Tracy Ross. Oh, imagine if I got it wrong. Bad. Anyway, she was saying how her mum was just basically like a superwoman, and how she still showed up for her kids, but also was this huge international star that performed at Central Park in like the 80s. Like, she still was cool mum, because she was still loving, she was still holding her ministry very highly, but then also like, yeah, she just showed up. And I want to be known as the person who just showed up, and not just showed up, showed up, like really showed up. And I think for myself, I need to start showing up more for myself. Yeah. Anyway, final section is Conte's collection. If you know, I love music. I want to be sponsored by Spotify. Hear me up, hear me up, hear me up. La 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 la. Spotify hits me up. Won't you hit me up? Whoa, 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 whoa. Now, the song that I have, I probably recommended this before, but it's what it is. The song that I have is NK Divine Wana. Muana. Muana. Guys, again, they're not sponsoring me to say this, but if you haven't listened to Congolese praise and worship, specifically Lingala praise and worship, guys, you are missing out. There's such an anointing under that sing, like, and it just feels like a oh, beautiful. I love a bass, and I think that's why I draw very close to Sembe music. But it's like, it's so beautiful. So go and listen to NK Divine, Muane. Go and listen to that whole album. That whole album from Encore to C to, go and listen to the whole album. Okay. Anyway, lads, first episode done. Super exciting. I'm very excited for all of you to just interact with this and really learn from it. And I hope that, like, what did no one tell you about womanhood? What did no one tell you about manhood? What did no one tell you about the hood? Okay. And let the comment section be thriving, man. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, let it be like, oh, guys, please. Let it be like TikTok comments. Please. Let it be like TikTok comments. That will make my day. I don't want no negativity. Throw it out there. Okay? Let's keep this community really tight now. Let's really make sure it's so overwhelmingly positive that people feel sick. Legit. But let it be like TikTok comments, guys. Please. Memes, everything. Anyway, if you haven't liked, if you haven't subscribed, again, you're missing out. If you're listening, guys, make sure you give us 5 stars on all audio platforms. I'm just excited that God has actually graced me with the ability to be able to share again. I think I've been in a bit of a stump, and I need to give myself grace. It's okay. You've edited an episode. You've recorded an episode. It is fine. It will be well. Okay. Love you guys loads.